most amazing place in the galaxy, Kids Planet! My name is Nova, and we are about to start an incredible journey through the universe. Along the way, we'll learn all about the world around us, so we can grow up to become big kids with good values who make smart choices. I am so happy you're excited too. This adventure will be full of mysteries and hidden treasures. It's going to be so much fun! Here we go! Today we're going to learn about manners and how to have good manners during mealtime, which is something everyone should know. As time went by, we began to change and grow, and we realized that even though eating can be fun, there are certain rules we need to follow. Unless you want to become an abominable food-swallowing monster! You're right. I don't think that's a very good idea either. So how do we learn the rules? Good news! I know someone who can help. This is Curious. He can help us discover the answers. All we need to do is ask. So what should we ask? I know. How to eat properly. Nothing escapes our pal Curious. In fact, he knows more than my parents. But shh, don't tell them. Look, there are foods like popcorn, chips, or sandwiches that we can eat with our hands. But not all foods can be eaten like this. Spaghetti, meat, and rice. Well, you can already see why. I don't know if this happens to you, but I love music. I spend a lot of time listening to songs and singing along. But the other day, without realizing it, I was singing while I had food in my mouth. My mother was not impressed. She told me that I better stop that concert. I was very embarrassed, and now I understand why. It's important to chew food with your mouth closed. The people you are eating with don't want to see all the food in your mouth. We also need to try to not make noise slurping water or juice. We should also use napkins. Little paper planes are fun, but I meant using them for something else. For example, use them to clean your hands, mouth, or fingers if you get them dirty while you are eating. Sometimes napkins are paper. And now that I think about it, sometimes they're made of cloth, like when we go to eat at a restaurant with my family. Either way, we use them to keep ourselves clean while we eat. When we sit down, we should place the napkins on our laps. That way, if we drop a little bit of food, we won't get our clothes dirty. We'll leave the habit of using napkins as bibs for the little ones in the house. Our pal Curious has helped me learn some incredible things. Children like us would never clean themselves on furniture or clothes, right? Now we know how to stay clean when we eat. Surely, you've heard some adults say, "Don't put your elbows or head on the table." I could never understand why. It's very comfortable. But when we lean and place our elbows or head on the table, it makes it seem like we're bored and not happy to be there. Imagine our faces. That's why it's considered rude. And we don't want to be rude, right? But listen to this super fact. Despite this rule, it is okay to lean your elbows on the table while talking and waiting for food. As my grandpa says, every rule has an exception. So, we know that we shouldn't eat with our mouths open, or to talk or sing with food in our mouths, even if it's a great song. My parents tell me that many years ago, there were no cell phones, no computers, but it meant some good things too, particularly for manners. Since there were no cell phones, nobody used them at the table. We should take advantage of mealtime to share with our family and friends, to talk with them and show them how much we care for them. Now we can even teach our parents something about manners. We should always wait for everyone at the table to have their plate of food before we start eating. It's the kind and polite choice to make. Plus, we don't want to look like we're wild animals. And it's better to wait for everyone to finish before getting up from the table. If you do need to leave early, remember to ask permission. This is how you show everyone that you are thinking about them too, not just about yourself. Wow! We have to know a lot of things to become experts at the table. The most important thing to remember is that there is a place for everything. We can yawn in our rooms when we are sleepy and going to bed, or take off our shoes when we get home from playing outside. But we shouldn't do those things while we're at the dinner table. Don't worry, there are lots of things that you can do at the table, like being kind, telling your family what you did at school, and listening to what others tell you. This is how we show them our respect and love. You can laugh, smile, even sing. Just do your chewing first. When we are with our family or friends, the food just seems to taste better, don't you think? Coming up, we'll learn even more about good manners. And our pal Curious is going to help us discover cutlery. Whatlery? Cutlery! Relax, it's easier than learning French, I promise. But before we go, I have a little trivia for you. I call it the Nova Quiz. Listen carefully. In some countries, it's okay to eat with your hands. I'm thinking of one that starts with an I. Can you guess what country it is? See if you can come up with some ideas, and we'll find out the answer. When we return on Kids Planet. We're back with more Kids Planet. I was starting to miss you. Okay, so as promised, it's time to reveal the correct answer of our Nova Quiz. Do you remember what I asked? In some countries, it's okay to eat with your hands. I'm thinking of one that starts with an I. Can you guess what country it is? If you answered India, you're right. In India, children like us learn to eat without utensils. Instead, they use their hands. Does that seem strange? Maybe it seems fun. Well, different people in different cultures have different ways of doing things. And we get to learn about them. That's what makes the world such an amazing place. Another word for utensils is cutlery. There's that funny word again. Cutlery just means the tools you use to eat, like forks, spoons, and knives. I did promise to tell you more about these tools, didn't I? Let's do it. Because learning how to use them correctly will turn us into great food experts. I think this is a job for our old pal Curious. How should we use cutlery? Wow, I knew there were many types of cutlery, but I never thought that some of them would be so funny looking. My Aunt Orbit is like our buddy Curious. She knows them all. She has a fork for everything. One for fish, one for meat, one for desserts, and others I'm not even sure what they're for. She has spoons of all sizes and lots of different kinds of knives for cooking and for eating. Some utensils have strange shapes and are very funny. Others are so big, they look like they were made for giants. So how do we use them correctly? I know, at first it's not so easy. But with a little practice, soon you'll be able to teach other kids. If you want to cut food, hold your knife in one hand with the pointy side facing down. Hold your fork in your other hand. Hold the food in place with the fork and move the knife back and forth until the food is cut. Once you have the cutlery completely mastered, it is very important to remember the following phrase. Repeat after me. The food goes to the mouth, not the mouth to the food. That's why it's very important to sit straight in the chair. Not that much. You look like a mummy. Remember that we can't suck or lick the dishes or cutlery. Ew. My parents are always happy to give me more food when I ask politely, and they also love when I help them at the table. For example, the spoon can be used with the fork to serve the salad. It will work like a vegetable trailer. The cutlery will help us a lot at lunchtime. It can even help us send messages while we are at the table. It's kind of like a secret code, and our pal Curious can show us all the details. Let's see. The language of cutlery. The cutlery speaks, and although it's not Spanish, French, or Italian, it is very easy to learn their language. If you want to make a pause while eating, to drink, or to talk, the cutlery must be placed on the plate in a triangle shape. Don't put dirty cutlery on the tablecloth or the napkin. If we did that, we would end up making a mess. If you are ready to eat the next dish, just place the cutlery in the shape of a cross. See, it won't even be necessary to announce that you're ready to continue eating. Everyone at the table will understand just by looking at your plate. How cool is that? Even if you share the table with people who do not speak your language, cutlery helps you communicate. Have you ever had a meal so delicious that you wanted to tell everyone at the table about it? In that case, the cutlery can also help us speak. If we place them next to each other with the handle slightly outwards on the left side of the plate, you will be announcing to everyone that your plate was delicious. And it will be the perfect way to congratulate the chef. Even if you know how to say thank you in French, don't miss the opportunity to surprise them all by saying merci in cutlery language. If you're like me, still learning how to communicate with the cutlery, I'm sure you've already seen your parents place them together with the handle out, but on the bottom part of the plate. In fact, if you go to a restaurant with your family, you can see many people do that same thing. Do you know what it means? It means you're finished eating. Even if there's food left on the plate, this sends the message, I'm done. As soon as the waiter sees your cutlery placed that way, he or she will take it, and you can say merci again. I just wanted to impress you with my French. I'm gonna guess what you're thinking. There are too many things to learn, Nova. I know it seems like a lot, but it's easier than you think. And once we put them into practice, they become part of us. As easy and fun as zipping down a slide or riding a swing when we go to the park. And although cutlery are not toys, they will make mealtime more easier and more entertaining too. When we come back, our pal Curious will help us discover the meaning of two words that adults use a lot. Protocol and etiquette. What? They sound very important, right? Don't worry, it's going to be fun. We'll also make a trip around the world to see the different customs families have during mealtime. So are you ready for another Nova quiz? Okay, here we go. In which country should potatoes be crushed with forks before eating them? Here's a hint. The country is in Europe and it rhymes with harmony. Put on your thinking caps and we'll learn the answer when we come back. Don't go away. Stay tuned for more Kids Planet. Hi! I'm so happy to see you again. We're back with much more from the most amazing place in all the galaxy, Kids Planet! I know that you're eager to learn the answer of our Nova quiz. Do you remember the question? In which European country should potatoes be crushed with forks before eating them? It rhymes with Hermione. Germany! When people eat potatoes in Germany, they often crush them with a fork and mix them with the sauce of the dish. If instead of crushing them, you were to cut them with a knife, you could offend the chef. The chef might think you're doing that because they weren't cooked properly. Now you can show this new trick to all your friends. And do you like to celebrate important events with your family and friends? I love it when we get together as a family. And I get to see all my relatives, uncles, cousins, grandparents, my dad's and my mom's friends, and my friends. During these special occasions, we also have to behave in a special way so that everything goes well and we enjoy the moment together even more. Adults refer to this good behavior as following protocol and etiquette. Those seem like very complicated words. But for our old pal Curious, nothing is complicated. So Curious, what do protocol and etiquette mean? Well, they simply mean the manners we should have in special places and during special moments. It is always important to be polite and kind, to treat other people the way you would like them to treat you. So try to always say please when you ask for something and thank you when you are helped. Those are my favorite words because once I say them, everything I want appears as if by magic. Try it. When you're at the table, try not to lean or stretch on to the people around you. Keep your elbows to yourself. Here's an interesting fact. Do you remember when you celebrated your birthday and blew the candles of your cake with all your strength? But with hot food, it is not the same. If it's very hot and you want it to cool down, you just have to be patient and wait a little. When you are with your friends and family, trust me, time passes much faster. My brother Neutron has always wanted to be an orchestra conductor. Sometimes he used to grab the forks and imagine violins playing as he moved from side to side. He had a lot of fun, and I did too. But imagine doing the same thing when we tried to talk to other people at the table. Doesn't look so funny, right? Our pal Curious says that it is rude to move the cutlery like that while talking at mealtime. So, we'll chase our dreams of being musical conductors once we're finished with dessert. It is also very important to be kind and friendly with our friends and family when we're at the dinner table. We should always speak with a pleasant voice and never raise the tone of our voices. It's so beautiful to see a family enjoying special occasions together. That's why I always tell my friends that we play games and run races after we get up from the table. Another thing that is also best to leave for later is chewing gum. If you are chewing gum like a llama, you could confuse everyone, and your food would taste like gum. And if you finally made the good choice to get rid of your gum, where would you put it? In your water? Let's just leave the gum for another time. Oh, here's another thing. It's always good to try to eat all the food on our plate, right? And when that food is delicious, that's not hard. It's called cleaning your plate. By doing that, we're not only making our bodies strong and showing the chef we enjoyed the meal, we're also making the dishwasher's job easier. And as my mother says, last but not least. When everyone is finished and it's time to say goodbye, do it politely. Look the people in the eye and always say thank you for the invitation. Everyone will be very satisfied and happy to have spent time together. The world is a really big place with lots of different places to live and lots of different kinds of people. And not everyone behaves the same way. Different countries have different ways of doing things, different customs, even when it comes to eating. So I want us to take a trip together around the world to explore some different ways of eating. We'll bring our old buddy Curious with us to help us learn. In Japan, we might see and hear people sipping noodles and soup in a very noisy way. This isn't rude in Japan, it's part of their customs, and they believe that eating this way improves the taste. I guess in Japan my little cousin would be considered sophisticated. And if we were in Saudi Arabia, burping after lunch would be a way we could say that we loved what we ate. Here, that could get us in a lot of trouble. In my house, when I clean my plate, my mom is very happy because she knows that I love the food. But in China, it's not the same. If we lived there, it would be very rude to leave the plate empty because it would mean that we weren't full enough or satisfied. Astor would be a very rude cat. And while in many cultures it's not polite to wipe up your plate with bread, in Italy it's a very popular custom. They call it scarpetta. Amazing! Cultures can be so different, it's hard to keep track. Just remember to appreciate the differences. It's what makes the world special. And remember to have fun exploring. Before we end today's mission, we have to make a quick stop for our interplanet trivia. And we're going to need some help. Why don't we call my Aunt Orbit? Hey, Aunt Orbit! I'm so happy you're here. We've learned so much about manners today. Having good manners is extremely important, especially when we are eating at the table with others. When we show good manners, we make our meals more enjoyable, and we show respect to those around us. We must also avoid making big messes so that everything stays nice and clean. We should always take advantage of mealtime to share with our family and friends. All right, now that we've reviewed, let's test what we've learned today. Can you figure out in which of these scenarios Aunt Orbit is showing good manners? Is it this one? Aunt Orbit is singing her favorite song with food in her mouth. Maybe it's this one. Aunt Orbit is eating in Italy. She liked her pasta so much that she decided to lick the plate clean. Or is it this one? Aunt Orbit's food is really hot, so she sits and waits patiently for it to cool down. Can you figure this out? In the first example, Aunt Orbit is singing with food still in her mouth. Yuck! Here, Aunt Orbit licked her plate clean. That's bad manners. She should have cleaned it using a piece of bread, how Italians do. Remember? Scarpetta. Here, Aunt Orbit decided to wait for her food to cool down instead of blowing on it. It has to be the last one. Aunt Orbit followed proper protocol and etiquette by not blowing on her food. Great job, guys! Good manners help us show how much we care for the people we are eating with. We must keep in mind that different cultures have different customs. That way we don't offend anyone with our actions. We'll see you next time for more Interplanet Trivia! Wow! Today was one of the best days ever. Now it's time to say goodbye. Don't worry, because soon we'll meet again right here on the best planet in the entire galaxy. Kids Planet! I'll be waiting for you.